Hello, 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 everybody. Miami TVG, and welcome to another edition of Miami Hurricanes football. This is 2025 edition now, which means new season, new problems, maybe new moments, maybe same old bull crap. But either way, regardless if something happens or not, welcome everybody to the Miami Hurricanes football preview for the 2025 edition. I decided yes, I am going to do this season. So real quick before we get things on, we first need to talk about some of the changes that happened with the Miami Hurricanes. So last year, if you remember, Lance Guidry was fired because his defense for the Miami Hurricanes last season have completely fumbled. It's just to say the least. It was awful defense, despite having a very good record. And I'm talking one of the best records since 2017. The problem was the defense. The defense was a massive failure. It was a failure in the ACC play. In the ACC and then beyond, it was having a lot of problems. And there was quite a handful of games last season where we escaped the wins. The biggest note taker from last year was our offense. So, Shannon Dawson and Mario Cristobal are linked up together. But the defense was having a lot of problems, especially in the game like Georgia Tech, Syracuse, and I can't believe I have to bring this up, but Iowa State. That game we should have won. That we really should have won. Actually, now that I think about it, we should have won all the games. We would have won the ACC championship for the first time ever. That is the goal right here. That is a goal to win the ACC championship. That is our big goal, and eventually we would go for an NCAA championship. That is the mindset. These are the win now type of moves with the NIL recruitment with the players, but they could not do that with Lance Guidry. They almost had it, but the defense was crap. So they fired Lance Guidry last year, and then they made the hire of Corey Hetherman, who was a defensive coordinator from University of Minnesota. He helped, and I'm reading this off the website, he helped the Golden Gophers with an 8-5 finish and 5-4 mark in the Big Ten play and win over Virginia Tech and Duke's Mayo Bowl this past December. So he has an experience winning a bowl game. Whether you agree with this or not, the defensive coordinator needed to have a change. But everything else, more or less the same. Mario Cristobal is still our head coach. People still have problems with Mario Cristobal being, the time management problem. But Shannon Dawson, definitely a good coordinator. We have a really good offensive coordinator with the right mindset. With the right mindset. In terms of coaches, Cristobal is still our coach. This is I believe it's his fourth season. Yeah, fourth season. So lots of things to improve right here. Then, of course, Corey Hetherman, who is a successor of Lance Guidry. Alex Mirabal is our assistant head coach. Kevin Beard with the wide receiver coach. Zach Etheridge is a defensive pass game coordinator and plus a defensive back. Will Harris is a safeties coach. Damian, if I said correctly, Lewis is defensive tackles coach. Matt Merritt, running back coach. Jason Taylor, still our defensive line coach. I like Jason Taylor. He is a good defensive line coach. He is so good at what he does. Cody Wooddiel with the tight end coach. Danny Coulter with the special teams coordinator. And everybody else is a senior analyst with the offensive defense and special teams. So that the names go on and on. Roster, definitely a lot of replacements and stuff like that. Cam Ward is a Tennessee Titan, and I expect he's going to make his start with the actual games of the Tennessee Titans, which is I'm so proud of him. But they made one wrong move, Tennessee Titans. They cut Xavier Restrepo. What? You barely even gave him a shot. That's crazy. Okay, offense. And they have the purple where they said true freshman. I like that. So in terms of our offense, Wide receiver X slot. Joshisa, if I said it correctly, Joshisa with there we go. Trader, who is number 0. Actually, not number 0. What am I saying? That's another slot. Keelan Marion and Chance Robinson. That's the wide receiver X. Z slot, CJ Daniels. True freshman Joshua Moore. Nye Carr. The H slot, Tony Johnson. Ray Joseph, who is still part of our team. He's a junior. Okay, SO is sophomore. There we go. Malachi Tony, who is a true freshman. And Dalen Upshaw, who is also a true freshman. That is the H slot. Left tackle is Markel Bell. And Samson Akolola. One is a senior, the other one's a sophomore. Left guard is Ryan Rodriguez, who is a senior. Matthew McCoy, who was a junior at left guard. At center, we have James Brockermeyer, if I said it correctly. Brockermeyer, who is a senior. True freshman is, I'm going to try. Sarsu Olafoli, if I said it correctly. I'm so sorry if I get it wrong. And Nino Francavilla, if I said it correctly. I'm so sorry if I got it wrong. The right guard, and Anez Cooper, Juan Minaya, if I said it correctly. True freshman is Jaden Wilkerson in right guard. And right tackle, Francis Magua, who is still part of our team, and Tommy Kinsler the fourth, I think. Tight end, Elijah Lofton, who is still part of our team at sophomore. Then we also have Alex Brahman, who is a senior tight end. Jack Nickel, who is the right side tight end junior. And Brock Schott is true freshman. Quarterback, and this is the big one. Carson Beck, who is a senior transfer from Georgia. Carson Beck is the big talking point when he came over to Miami. People speculates it was because one of the Havard twins, who both of them are part of the Hurricanes basketball team. And yes, I did watch them both play at one point. They are hot, yes, but that's not why Carson Beck came to Miami. Backup is Emery Williams, who is still here. Luke Nickel, who is a true freshman, and Judd Anderson is also there as well. Running back Mark Fletcher, who is a junior, who's still there. Jordan Lyle, who is a sophomore, is still a running back, but new ones from transfer is Jarmar Brown and Gerard Pringle Jr., who is a true freshman. That is the offense depth. Defense, we got the left left defense. There we go. Akeem Mesador, Marquise Lightfoot, if I said it correctly. Cole McCarthy II, and true freshman Hayden Lowe. Next, Ahmed Moten Sr., David Blay Jr., Artavius Jones as well. Defensive tackle, Justin Scott, and a true freshman, Dr. Simpson. Right side, Ruben Bain Jr., who is still part of our team. Armando Blount, who is, I think, still part of the team. Malik Bryant, who is still a defense. And Booker Pickett, who is a freshman. Wesley Betsanth, who is as awesome as he is. Kamal Bonner. There I am. Cam Pruitt. Jay Smith. Bobby Washington Jr. Middle linebacker, Mohamed Toar. Raul Aguilar Jr., Jalen Alderman, Darius Hayes, and Kellen Wiley Jr. And then Frederick Jr. as OJ Frederick. There we go. Ethan O'Connor, true freshman, Jabari and Antoine, if I said it correctly. Safeties, Jacoby Thomas, Dylan Day, and true freshman Bryce Fitzgerald. More safeties, Zechariah Poyser, if I said it correctly, Markeith Williams, Amari Wallace, who is a true freshman, Xavier Lucas now, Damari Brown, Jadius Richard, there we go, and Chris Ewald Jr., and Keontae Scott, Charles Brantley, and Isaiah Taylor. Some of them are foreign transfers. Special teams, well, punt is Dylan Joyce, who is still a punter. Kicker now is Bert Auburn. In case if there's any backups, Tucker Tevapog and Davis Carter. Or Carter Davis, there we go. But a kickoff could be Carter Davis as well as Bert Auburn and Will Rocha. Left side, Adam Booker, Michael Donovan, Dylan Joyce, Tucker Tafapaw, Ray Joseph, who is a punt returner, as well as a backup, Keelan Marion, and this is pretty much the same thing. From the right side or the left side, and the kickoff return and the punt return is pretty much the same thing. I guess they pretty much flip. So there's your roster right there, folks. All right. Now we talk about the games, the schedules, and things like that. So very different from last year's roster and very different from last year's schedule. Let's put it this way. And I don't know why it's not loading. There we go. Come on. Why isn't this loading? There we go. Okay. First off is the first game of the season starts off at Hard Rock Stadium against Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That is the first game of the season. That's going to happen actually tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. It is number 6 going up against number 10 at Hard Rock. Last time we played against Notre Dame, Miami beat the crap out of Notre Dame. That is one of the biggest wins, if not the biggest win in program history. We hope to keep that momentum against Notre Dame. But Notre Dame has some really good recruitment, and they're always one step ahead of the opponents. Next game is against Bethune-Cookman. That's also going to be a Hard Rock. That's the first of non-conference games. By the way, the Notre Dame game is ACC play, so pretty early on. Next up is South Florida Bulls. Last time we played against South Florida Bulls, it was a tight first half, but Miami ran away with it in Tampa. But South Florida is coming in town, so it's going to be very different. It's going to be very different in Miami than it is in Tampa, folks. But then the big one, and this was my plan. I was going to go to this game, but I could not. Miami versus Florida, the Gators. But this time it's going to be a Hard Rock Stadium. You know Florida Gators are going to want retribution with DJ Lagway. Next up, Florida State up in Tallahassee. That's one of the second part of the ACC play. And this might be a different FSU team because tonight they upset Alabama of all teams. Yes, freaking Alabama Crimson Tide. That is going to be tough, and especially if you're going up in Tallahassee. This might be a different Florida State team than it is last year, so we got to brace ourselves. Then the game against Louisville is next up on October 17th. Stanford now comes in town, and then finally we get to taste what SMU is like. So we're going up to SMU, who we were supposed to play against, but like I told you, Lance Guidry's defense failed us. Then Syracuse comes in town, Syracuse Orange. That's the game that I want some revenge on, because that was the game that we were supposed to win and get us to the ACC championship. But that didn't happen. NC State after that comes in town, and that's our final home game of the season. And then we go to Virginia Tech where we play against the Hokies. I think it's the Hokies. And then we go to Pittsburgh to wrap up the regular season, and time will tell for what happens there. My predictions. Okay. I think we're gonna be just slightly worse than last year, only because I'm just not certain the defense part. I'm not very certain about the defense part, and who knows if Carson Beck can handle pressure. I think Carson Beck will be okay. I think Carson Beck will be okay. I think he can. I think he can pull off some things against Notre Dame, but is Notre Dame going to be the cakewalk? No. So I don't know. I have no idea. But you can definitely beat Bethune-Cookman. You can probably beat South Florida. But the Florida Gators is going to be a tough one. But it's going to be in Miami. So Carson Beck has experience against Florida. So that might be a win for the Hurricanes part. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Florida State. I guess we'll see what happens. This might be a primetime game. Louisville, we should probably beat Louisville. Stanford, we might be able to beat Stanford. They're coming all the way from California. So that should be a win on our part. SMU, since we're going to SMU, which I believe it's in Texas, right? Excuse me. I don't know. I'm not confident about that game. But I'm confident about the Syracuse game. NC State, that might be a tricky. But the rest of the schedule, I'm like Virginia Tech, I'm confident of. Pittsburgh, I might be able to be confident of. So I'm going to say a 93 record. I'm going to say a 93 record for the Hurricanes. They might prove me wrong. I'm going to say a 93 record. I hope I'm wrong, and we go for the bowl game. However, our goal is to win the ACC championship. But this is a tough schedule, so I don't have much of an answer for. But we'll see what happens when the season comes. I'm very excited to watch Hurricanes football again, and we'll see what happens. Either way, let's go Canes. So that's going to do it for this one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What you like and you don't like, what you agree with and what you disagree with. We'll see what happens. All right, man. That's going to do it. I'll see you guys next time. Good night.